Welcome back. Now I'm joined by RedRaidersports.com and Tech Talk's Chris Level. And Chris, unbelievable, unreal, David and Goliath. How do you describe what happened last night in Norman?
Well, Courtney, it was surreal. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, you just don't go into Norman, Oklahoma and get a win. I mean, it just doesn't happen. And it's a credit to, I think, that these kids believed in the process of continuing to work hard and improve after what they'd gone through the last 2 weeks. That's the why I think no one felt like they had a chance.
Kind of talk about the environment at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, well, first of all, you know, it's a 7 o'clock kick, so you're waiting around all day long, and that's not ideal. But then here comes this storm. I mean, they're warming up, you're waiting for the game to kick off, and then the storm rolls in, and rain's literally blowing sideways, and it does so for about an hour and a half. And so you don't kick off until 8:30, but that, I think, allowed the environment not to be the same as it would have been. While that helped, I think, Texas Tech's effort, it also probably cost them their center for a few games, and so that's what you're dealing with more adversity because Deverick Gallington gets asked to move over to center right there.
Which he played huge.
He did very well, and that's just one of the unsung heroes right there because he gets, you know, in a pinch, and there were some low snaps, but he protected and just did what he needed to do. As the game plays out, the fans start to leave, it becomes quiet, and then general just shock sets in because this is a team that I think a lot of people feel like is the best team in the country. They're the most balanced. They're waiting to play Oklahoma State at the end of the year for a right to go play for the national championship. Now, what Texas Tech has done is remove that from the equation at this point. I mean, they went in there and they were just simply the better team. Tommy Tuberville said it after the game, and Bob Stoops said it after the game.
In all facets, really. I mean, the defense played probably the best we've seen so far this year. I mean, what was it, 8 3-and-outs?
Yeah, and I think that they didn't make as many plays as they could have, but they did just enough. And when you factor in
at key times.
Absolutely. And Donald Langley is back in Lubbock. Derek Mays is back in Lubbock. Blake Dees is back in Lubbock. And you're playing with Sawyer Vest and Eugene Nebo and Brett Dewhurst. And these guys are giving you everything they got. And that's what Chad Glasgow loves about them.
And I've never seen, I was telling some of the guys over in radio today, Oklahoma and specifically Landry Jones flat looked not comfortable, not confident at all, really until maybe into the fourth quarter, and really not so much then.
Yeah, and he was pressing at times and looked confused. So I think you credit that 4-2-5 scheme of Chad Glasgow.
The Viper.
Yeah, well, that too. You know, that they installed a package where they put all 4 defensive ends in there and kind of. But this is the first passing team that you've gotten a chance to see Texas Tech play this year. That 4-2-5 is designed to go against offenses just like this, but this is the first one that they have played. Everything else has been running based, but a total team effort. It takes a village, and there's so much praise, and I don't know where it's talking about Seth Doege.
Oh, my gosh. He's been outstanding all year. We saw a little bit of a slip, last game. I think all that's erased now.
Yeah, I mean, the kid is potentially great. And
doesn't know how to lose.
Yeah.
It's the intangibles you talked about early, preseason.
He's just wired in that he's the same guy on a Tuesday as he is at 7 o'clock before a big game as he is at 2:30 in the morning after winning a big game. He's the same guy, and that's what makes him special. He is well coached. He executes what he's told to do. And he's smart, and he's even keel. And I think that, again, it's fun to watch him live his dream every Saturday playing football for Texas Tech.
Moving forward, obviously a huge win, arguably the biggest win in Tech history as far as on the road against, you said arguably the toughest, best team in the country. What does this mean? The signature win of the Tommy Tuberville era, obviously, but what does this mean for this team here and now?
I think it shows a young team what they're capable of. And if they buy into the process of continuing to try to get better and they enjoy that part of it, that they are destined for great things. But they've got to continue to do that.
This isn't enough.
No, it's not.
Here.
Yeah, you can't do that. But, because we see what they're capable of if they play well and then make too many mistakes, and that's you lose. If you play well and don't make mistakes, great things are possible. You're still 1 win away from bowl eligibility, and that, don't get too caught up into this thing because you still need one more win
Right.
just to get to a bowl, because you start hearing people like, man, we could win out. We can do this. We can do that.
But the schedule's not easy from here on
No,
out. I mean, you've
no.
got Baylor, Iowa State coming next week, and you still got the Cowboys who continue to roll week after
And
week.
you have to go to Austin, Texas, and Columbia,
Absolutely.
Missouri. I mean, those 2 road trips may have been as hard as any that you ever face, Texas Tech does, because they don't win in those places. But I think Texas Tech did themselves proud last night. I mean, I think it was a surreal moment. It's a moment that I know those young men will never, ever forget for as long as they live, because I think when someone tells them in life later on down the road, you can't do something, they're going to look back and look that person in the eye and say, yes, you can. And I think that's why we love sports so much. Sports can be cruel, and they were to this fan base the last 2 weeks, but they giveth, they taketh away, and all those things. But it's very rewarding when you buy in and you become emotionally invested by being a fan of a program or playing a program or whatever. And that's one of those nights last night that, again, lives on for a long, long time.
Just a great night for Tommy Tuberville and the guys. I appreciate you joining us, as always. We'll take a quick break, but after the break, Rangers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams, busy night in Arlington. Those highlights coming at you right after this.